What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you guys for tuning in with your favorite instructor. This is High Power Trucking Academy. I'm going to go ahead and run the pre-trip for you guys. Pre-trip is as follows. The first thing on your checklist is going to be your lenses. Your lenses consist of all lights, basically your lights. At the very top, we have our ID and clearance lights. The three lights in the middle. Those are your ID lights. The outside ones are your clearance lights. Both are amber in color, not cracked or broken, with no loose or missing screws and working properly. Moving along, we have our headlight housing. These houses are low beam, high beam, both clear in color, not cracked or broken, and working properly with no loose or missing screws. We also have our turn signal and four-way flasher, both amber in color, not cracked or broken, working properly with no loose or missing screws. Next on the checklist is going to be our fluid levels. Our fluid levels consist of your coolant, not cracked, broke, or leaking, properly secured to the radiator with no loose or missing bolts. Hoses to and from are fitted and clamped with no leaks. We have two caps, one to add fluid, the other to release pressure only when the engine is cool. Next, it should be filled to manufacturer specifications. Both caps have a good rubber seal, no leaks. Moving along, we have our oil dipstick. To get a good reading, we would have to pull it out, clean it, insert it, check the reading. It is also not cracked, broke, or leaking. If we needed to add any fluid, we could do so here. Oil filled tube cap, that is also not cracked, broke, or leaking, has a good rubber seal. Moving along, this is our power steering reservoir, not cracked, broke, or leaking, properly secured to the bracket, to the frame with no loose or missing bolts. All hoses to and from fitted and clamped with no leaks. We also have two caps that are not cracked, broke, or leaking. If you needed to add any fluid, we could do so in this one. That is not cracked, broke, or leaking, has a good rubber seal. Should be filled here to manufacturer specifications. Wanted to check the reading, we'll do so here. Next on your checklist would be fluid and air leaks. To check your fluid and air leaks, we'll get out in front of the truck. Make sure we have no overnight leaks, such as coolant, engine oil, power steering fluid, and transmission. Make sure we have no overnight leaks. For air leaks, we're going to check our air lines, make sure they're fitted and clamped with no leaks. We'll also check the governor. Air lines, make sure to and from are fitted and clamped with no leaks, that the governor is properly bolted and secured to the frame with no loose or missing bolts. Moving along, we're going to mention our steering components. Our steering components has 6 parts, guys. 6 parts. First one is our steering shaft. It's not cracked, bent, or broken with no illegal welds. Secured to your universal joint. Your universal joint is not cracked, bent, or broke. Well greased with no loose or missing bolts. Secured to your steering gearbox. Steering gearbox not cracked, bent, or broke, no illegal welds. Secured to the frame with no loose or missing bolts. Hoses to and from are fitted and clamped with no leaks. We also have a gasket that's in good condition with no leaks. Next, our pitman arm is secured to our pitman arm is not cracked, bent, broke, no illegal welds, secured to our drag link with a ball joint, crown nut, counter key. Rubber bushing is well greased. Next, our drag link is not cracked, bent, or broken with no illegal welds, properly secured to our steering knuckle with a ball joint, crown nut, counter key. Ball joint is also well greased. Steering knuckle not cracked, bent, or broke, no illegal welds, working properly. From there, we'll go to our tire. When we're speaking of our tire, we're going to use ICD method. I stands for inflation, C stands for condition, D stands for depth. Starting with the inflation, should be 95 to 100 or manufacturer specifications. Condition, we have no slashes, we have no cracks, no bubbles on either side of the tire. Nothing in the grooves or in the thread that can cause a puncture, such as nail, glass, or screws. And the depth on these tires is going to be 4/32 of an inch. They cannot be recapped, rethreaded, or mismatched, but more importantly, they got to be wear evenly. Moving along, we have our rim. Our rim has a good bead all the way around our rim and tire. We have no loose or missing lug nuts, free of rust, because if they had rust, that's an indication of them being loose. We have an air valve that's not touching the tire or the rim, not cracked, broke, or leaking. If we needed to add any air, we would do so here with a tire gauge. Measure the air with a tire gauge. Correction. Our hub seal is not cracked, bent, broke, no leaks, secure with no loose or missing bolts. If we needed to add any fluid, we could also do so here. And our rim, last but not least, is also not cracked, bent, broke, and has no leaks. Moving along, we're going to do our suspension. This is our suspension, but before we mention our suspension, we're going to mention our frame. 5 things to mention about our frame. This is the first time that you mention the frame. It is not cracked, bent, or broke with no illegal welds, no illegal drill holes. Next, go to the suspension. It has 4 components. This is your shock absorber, not cracked, bent, broke, or no leaks, properly secured to the leaf spring and to the frame with no loose or missing bolts. Leaf spring is not cracked, bent, or broke, no illegal welds, no less than 1/4 inch of wear, and it is secured to the frame with the leaf spring mount that is not cracked, bent, or broke with no loose or missing bolts. It also has rubber bushing, should be well greased. And our leaf spring is also secured to our front axle with 2 U-bolts that are also not cracked or broken, properly secured with no loose or missing bolts. Next would be our braking system. Also has 4 components. The first 2 connect. Starting with my airline. My airline is properly fitted to the frame and to the single brake chamber. No leaks, properly secured. My single brake chamber is not cracked, bent, broke with no leaks, secured with a C-clamp and no loose or missing bolts. Next would be our brake lining. Our brake lining, in other words, is just your brake pads, but we don't call them brake pads. We call these our brake lining. Our brake lining is not cracked or broken, no less than 1/4 inch of wear, no oil, no grease. Next, our brake drum is the thing that goes all the way around. Our brake drum has also no oil, no grease, not cracked or broken, no signs of crystallization, heat marks, or expansion, and can't have no cracks bigger than 1/2 inch. Moving along. Now, we're going to discuss the side of the tractor. The side of the tractor. Starting with the side of the tractor's lenses. Start with this lens here. It is a side indicator, amber in color, not cracked or broken. Properly secured with no loose or missing screws. Has 2 functions. Turn signal, 4-way flasher. Next would be your traffic monitor devices, ladies and gentlemen. Your traffic monitor devices is going to be your mirrors. Starting with this one here. Convex mirror secured to a bracket, secured to the hood with no loose or missing bolts, not cracked or broken, no obstructions, no illegal stickers, and adjusted to the driver's vision. Same as this. Side mirror secured to the bracket, secured to the door with no loose or missing bolts, not cracked, bent, or broken. And again, no obstructions, no illegal stickers, and adjusted to the driver's vision. Continuing, we're going to talk about our battery. Now, we're following the checklist, ladies and gentlemen. Before we mention our battery that's under here, we're going to mention the frame again. Not cracked, bent, or broke with no illegal welds, no illegal drill holes. Now, we have a battery that's right under here. Secured to the bracket, secured to the frame with no loose or missing bolts. Our battery is not cracked, broke, or leaking. If we needed to add any fluid, we can use distilled water. Now, we have battery cables that are well insulated, not exposed, secured to our battery towers, free of corrosion, with no loose or missing bolts. Next, we have 2 tanks. We have our DF tank and we have a DF cap. My DF tank is properly secured to the brackets, secured to the frame with no loose or missing bolts. My DF tank is not cracked, bent, broke, no leaks. Also has a cap that is not cracked, broke, or leaking, has a good rubber seal. Next, this is our fuel tank. Not cracked, broke, or leaking, has a fuel cap that is also not cracked, broke, or leaking, secured with a T-chain to prevent it from falling off, and has a good rubber seal. Now, this fuel tank, it's secured with these clamps to the frame, only that these clamps have insulation. Insulated saddle straps, they are called, to prevent metal-to-metal contact. Moving along, we're going to go to our landing gear. Our landing gear has 4 components, ladies and gentlemen. First one would be our bracket. It's not cracked, bent, or broke. No illegal welds, no illegal drill holes. Secured to the trailer with no loose or missing bolts. Next would be our stabilizers. Not cracked, bent, or broke. Secured with no loose or missing bolts. Following that would be our landing gear feet. Not cracked, bent, or broken. No illegal welds. Our feet should be on upright position when not in use. Should be well greased. Next would be our crank handle that should be here, but it's on the other side. It's not cracked, bent, or broke. Should be on locked position when not in use, and also should be well greased. Now, the most important thing that you got to say about here is that you have enough clearance between your landing gear and the back of your trailer to make right and left turns. Next on your checklist would be reflectors and lenses. Reflectors and lenses. Well, we're going to start first with this lens. That is a clearance light. It is amber in color, not cracked or broken, working properly with no loose or missing screws. Again, it is amber in color and it has a good rubber seal. Next, we're going to discuss our DOT reflective tape. Our DOT reflective tape is 50% white, 50% red, RTF. RTF stands for not ripped, not torn, not faded. This one's a little bit, but runs from the front all the way to the back. Moving along. This is not on your checklist, but this is something important that you guys need to know. Your trailer is made up of cross beams and floorboards. Your cross beams run from one side to the next. Your floorboards run from the front to the back. My cross beams are not cracked, bent, or broke. No illegal welds, no illegal drill holes. Properly secured to my trailer with no loose or missing rivets. And I have no loose or missing floorboards, properly secured with no loose or missing bolts. I also have an air line and an electrical line that run from the front all the way to the back. Now, continuing, you would mention the trailer frame. This is the frame that you would mention for the third time. Not cracked, not bent, not broken. No illegal welds, no illegal drill holes. Following that, we'll mention these ABS light. It is amber in color, not cracked or broken, with no loose or missing screws. Working properly with a good rubber seal. This is my running light. It is red in color, not cracked or broken, with no loose or missing rivets. Now, we're at the back of the trailer. First thing that you do, ladies and gentlemen, is start at the very top. Those three lights at the top, those are your ID lights. They are red in color. They are red in color, not cracked or broken, working properly, have a good rubber seal, no loose or missing screws. Next, we're going to move down to our trailer. Our trailer door has DOT reflective tape that is 50% white, 50% red, not RTF. RTF stands for not ripped, not torn, not faded. Runs from one side to the next. Following down, we have our trailer tail lights, red in color, not cracked or broken, working properly, have a good rubber seal with no loose or missing rivets. They have 4 functions: running lights, brake lights, turning lights, and four-way flasher. Next, we also have a license plate, not cracked or broken, properly secured with no loose or missing bolts. And we have a license plate light that is not cracked or broken, working properly with no loose or missing screws, clear in color. Now, last but not least, we have our DOT bumper that is not cracked, bent, or broke. No illegal welds, no illegal drill holes. It also has reflective tape running from one side to the next. That is, again, 50% white, 50% red, not ripped, torn, or faded. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is your pre-trip for Class A training. Hope I've been of service and it was useful. Thank you for watching. Your favorite instructor. Peace. God is good all the time.